having planning for instruction and also the art of questioning. A part of the art of questioning will be tackled tonight, and the rest of that will be tackled next meeting. So let's begin first with our learning content. What does CM number 2 contain? It contains the K to 12 mathematics curriculum guide. It talks about it. It does not contain the guide itself, but it talks about unsa man ang K to 12 mathematics curriculum guide. We have here the higher order questions and divergent questions. And this will be tackled next meeting. The second content there. Learning objectives or the learning targets. Identify content standards, performance standards, earn learning competencies using the K to 12 curriculum. Guide in mathematics 7 to 10. And the other parts of a lesson plan. Next, categorize questions as lower order questions or higher order questions. And lastly, formulate convergent questions and divergent questions in mathematics. So let's begin first with this short activity. Let's have this picture analysis. So here's a teacher saying, for today's learning target, you will be able to climb that tree. And take note of those students. Nasa estudyante a bird, monkey, penguin, elephant, fish, a seal, and a goat. Now, let's analyze the picture of a teacher with his students. Here's my question. Is the teacher correct in making his learning objective for that day? What's your idea about the learning objective as formulated by the teacher? Anyone? Again, the learning objective is you will be able to climb that tree. Yes, Ronald.
No, sir.
Thank you, Ronald. Go on, Ronald. What's wrong? Is the teacher correct? Yes or no?
Con, sir, no, sir, kay some of the students will not achieve the sir, yung objectives
So,
because
correct. Because?
ang other, sir, kay dili sila ka-climb, sir, sa tree.
Okay. So, the learning objective, which is climbing a tree, is not attainable by the other students. Right? So, it's very, very important that when you make learning objectives, it should be attainable. It should be attainable. You should consider what kind of students naani mo. For example, if you're like teaching mga grade school students, like elementary students, and your objective will be like teaching calculus, and they don't have any prerequisite knowledge about analytic geometry, will they be able to learn calculus? No, they won't. Because the prerequisite knowledge, wala man dito. It's very important ba ya? Diba I told you sa constructivism, prerequisite knowledge or prior knowledge is very, very important. That's why the objective of the teacher here is not attainable at all. Are there any other sharings about his idea on this picture over here? Anyone? Aside from Ronald? Or you have the same idea as Ronald? I guess you have the same idea as Ronald. Because that's my idea as well. Okay? Now, let's go to our... What is K to 12? That is... Kindergarten and 12 years of basic education are being covered in the K to 12 curriculum. The program aims to provide enough time for mastery of concepts and skills, develop lifelong learners, and prepare graduates for tertiary education, middle-level skills in development, employment, and entrepreneurship. Now, this will be the comparison of the old curriculum and the new curriculum. Look at our old curriculum. This is high school from first year to fourth year. Take note, we started at age 5, mandatory preschool. Before, it was optional preschool. 6 to 11, that's grade school. Grades 1 to 6 is the same as here. Grades ages 12 to 15, that will be junior high school. Grade 7 to 10 on the K to 12. And from our old curriculum, it was first year to fourth year high school. Now, this time, we added 2 more years and we call it the senior high school. That's grades 11 and 12. And you have here the entry age, 16 to 17. And after which, they can go to college. So this is the difference between the old curriculum and the new curriculum. Now, here's the conceptual framework of the mathematics taken from the K to 12 curriculum guide. Mathematics as a subject in schools, therefore, must be learned comprehensively and with much depth. Can I have a volunteer, please, to read the second one? Anyone, please? Any volunteer to read the second? Yes, Jenny, babe. Thank you, Jenny.
The twin goals in the basic education levels, K to 10, are critical thinking and problem solving.
Okay, let's define critical thinking and problem solving. Can I have somebody to read the definition of critical thinking? Yes, Angeli? Thank you so much, Angeli.
According to Shriven and Paul, 1987, critical thinking is the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, reflection, reasoning, or communication as a guide to belief and action.
Okay, let's go to the definition of problem solving. Anybody, please? Yes, Queenie. Thank you so much, Queenie. Okay.
On the other hand, mathematical problem solving, according to Paul Ya 1945 and 1962, is finding a way around a difficulty, around an obstacle, and finding a solution to a problem that is unknown.
Okay, so there you go. Those are the definitions of critical thinking and mathematical problem solving. So the emphasis here is this one. Let me make use of my pen first. When you say critical thinking, this is now conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, evaluating information. And you make use of probably making a reflection or you reason out. When I say mathematical problem solving, it talks about a way around a difficult or around a difficulty rather, an obstacle or finding a solution. Next, these two goals are to be achieved with an organized and rigorous curriculum, content, well-defined set of high-level skills and processes, desirable values and attitudes, and appropriate tools taking into account the different contexts of Filipino learners. Now, here is the framework of the mathematics taken from K to 12 curriculum guide. So here we go. These are the 5 content areas. We have numbers and number sense, measurement, geometry, patterns and algebra, and lastly, probability and statistics. These are the 5 content areas in our curriculum. We also have the specific skills and processes to be developed here, like knowing and understanding, estimating, computing and solving, visualizing and modeling, representing and communicating, conjecturing, reasoning, proving, and decision making, and lastly, applying and connecting. And these are the values and attitudes that are to be honed as well: accuracy, creativity, objectivity, perseverance, and productivity. And these are our appropriate tools. We can make use of manipulative objects, measuring devices, calculators and computers, smartphones and tablets, and the internet. Now, bisag katong normal pa, like the face-to-face, I do let my students make use of a smartphone or a computer during my class because, like example, I do not use a graphing paper anymore for them to graph something. I make use of an application in their smartphones wherein they will just input the necessary function and it will give them the graph right away. Kanang graphing that is not a skill that to be atong itudlo. Kay kanang graphing part na siya na may mga applications ng mo graph. Ang problema ani is how to interpret the graph. Maunay dapat focus nato. Okay? I even let them, example, I even let my students make use of different applications in the internet. Like example, a math papa, an algebra solver, and so on. I let them use those things. Why? Because in problem solving, I simply do not I do not I for a while because I do not oh, for a while. Dan. For a while class because my niece is over in my room right now for a while. Later na taha, let's play later. Okay, let's continue. Pasensya na to. So again, I make use of smartphones like mga applications, not because I'm teaching my students to cheat. It's because I am not focused on simply solving mga algebra equations. I am simply, like example, I'm gonna give them focusing more on problem solving. The problem is, kanang mga algebra solvers, dili man na makasolve og word problems. They will simply make their own functions or equations para makasolve sila sa problem. Maunay focus na ako. So on my focus when it comes to problem solving, it's not like solving, adding polynomials, not like that. Because those things can be solved using different applications. The problem is, how do they go about problem solving? So, Mona, I make use of different applications in my class before. Let's continue. Now, what are learning competencies? By the way, let me present to you. Let me end this one first. For a while, Let me discard this first. Because I want to show to you what. Let me present my screen again. I want to share to you the K-12 curriculum guide. This is the K-12 curriculum guide. There you go. Do you see my screen right now? Where are you?
Yes, sir.
For a while, I'm having problems. I have made a research about this already. There you go. This is the K-12 curriculum guide. So I have mentioned a while ago, it talks about this is the conceptual framework. As you can see, naa si critical thinking o problem solving sa center because that is the core. Those are the focus of mathematics education. Next, this is the conceptual framework. This is the brief description for each naatay measurement, geometry, na. Now, these are the learning area standard. This is applicable to all. Kini siyang area standard. The key stage standards, maoning key stage standards. If you'll be asked of the grade level standards, so you will be going over here. So, nata sa grades 7, 8, 9, and 10, these are the different grade level standards. And this is seen in our curriculum, in our mga syllabus nga gipanghimo sa mga learning plans nga atong buhaton. Another thing is that, as you can see, this is now the curriculum guide. So for grade, let's go to grade, let me shift to grade 7 para we can readily see the high school curriculum. for a while. Let's grades. This is still for a while. Okay, that's grade 6. Still in grade 6. This is grade 7. Here you go. So for example, I'm gonna move up. So this is the first quarter for grade 7. As you can see, we have content standards for the heading, the performance standards, the learning competency. Just disregard the code and the learning materials. So our focus will be over the content. We have here the content, meaning katong mga algebra, sa number or number sense ba na saya, sa geometry ba na saya. Ang content standards, this is now the content standard, for example, the chapter, the unit about sets and real number system. So, giusa na siya because these two units are being taught during the first quarter. Okay? So, this is the content standard. This is the performance standard. So, by the end of the grading period, the students will be able to formulate challenging situations involving sets and real numbers. So, katong performance task nato pohon, inigtudlo ninyo, based na siya sa performance standards. And this one over here will be achieved if the learning competencies are also achieved. So, kining learning competencies, very important kaayo ni siya para ma-achieve nato ang performance standards. So, kining mga learning competencies over here, mao ni siyang learning competencies nga naa sa first quarter until solving problems involving real problems. Okay? So, mao ni siya ang atuang curriculum guide karon for this. Kay we don't know, by the end of Duterte's term, kisa na sa imulingkod nga secretary, mausab na sa diyang hunahuna, mausab na po nato ang curriculum. Kay mo na kung nabantayan kung kinsay mo lingkod nga presidente o kinsay mo lingkod nga Secretary of Education, siya magbuot unsay ipabutang niya sa curriculum. So dili kayo siya like ma-focus unlike before nga nag-change gani ng curriculum nato before, okay, including the content. So this is again the curriculum guide. Okay? Now let's go back to our presentation. Now, let's talk about what are learning competencies, because these learning competencies are found in the curriculum guide. So, these are the main ideas or skills you expect students to master, and these are the learning competencies. Another term for this, these are called the learning goals. These are taken again from the curriculum guide. I will be sending to you a copy of this. I have already, let me share it to you. This is the summary. I have summarized already. These are the competencies for grade 7. These are the competencies for grade 8. These are the learning competencies for grade 9. And these are the learning competencies for grade 10. These competencies are very important sa ato ang lesson planning later. Okay? Let's go back to my presentation. We have learning goals, the learning objectives. These learning objectives are not found in the learning competencies, but these learning objectives came from the learning. Muna gani gi-dissect nato ang learning competency. From the learning competency, atong digest, break down into smaller and specific targets. So these are what you call the specific abilities necessary to accomplish the learning competency. And these are also called learning targets. And these are formulated by the teacher. They can also be seen in the first part of each lesson, found in different mathematics textbooks. Now, sir, how do we make use of usa man na po baghimo og mga competency learning targets, sir? Okay, here's one lesson. How do we write learning competencies and learning objectives? So kining learning competencies wala na problema kay ngano man Makit-an ra nato sa curriculum guide. Ang problema ang learning objectives unsaon pag-construct. Example, our topic is about addition of rational algebraic expression. So meaning, I will be going to take note, that's a grade 8 lesson. So meaning, akong adtuon ang katong curriculum guide gagihatag ni Sir Tigle sa grade 8. Sa tong grade 8 here. Asa man aning competency ang mo suit aning addition of rational algebraic expression. So naadiri ang rational expressions. Asa man aning upat ka competencies akong gamiton nga dira musakay ang addition of ra-x. Asa siya musakay, class? Look at rational expressions here. Yes, Ronald.
Sa sir, performs operation on rational algebraic algebraic.
Correct. I'm gonna make use of this. Kini siya mo ay learning competency ani nga lesson for this lesson. Okay? Now let's continue. So we have now for a while ha. Okay, let's continue. So we have here nananato ato ang topic. So we need a topic for sure. It's very important. Check na. Asa gikuha ang atong learning competency? Gikuha ni siya sa learning competency sa math CG or math curriculum guide. Performs operations on rational algebraic expressions. And again, based on this, dira na magunahon ang teacher. Unsa may mga needed nga mga lessons for addition. Di ba kung mag-addition ko, I need to have a concept about LCM? I need to have a concept about how the students will identify similar o dissimilar nga ra-x. Kini siyang 1 and 2, naani siya sa atong learning competency sa CG? Wala. Pero needed ni siya para sa addition. So ang teacher na dapat knowledgeable about the lesson sa addition of ra-x. Because for you to add ra-x, you should know how to find LCM of an algebraic expression. As well as you should identify similar and dissimilar ra-x. And lastly, add similar and dissimilar ra-x. And take note, the learning competency there, kining addition, this is a part of the operations. Makita na nimo din na ay connection. Pero wala na akong gisuwat verbatimly like ibutang performs operations. Akong gi-edit, akong gi-specify. Add similar ra-x. Kaya naman tayo other operations, na ay subtraction, na ay multiplication, na ay division. You specify what operation yung gigamit. So this is how you write learning objectives. Is this clear, by the way?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So let's go to the art of questioning. Now, the art of questioning. Questioning is one of the most powerful tools of teaching. It has the potential to greatly facilitate the teaching learning process when used correctly. Using question and answer to challenge assumptions, expose contradictions, and bring about to a new level of understanding is an indisputably powerful teaching tool. In fact, it is widely believed that in order to teach well, a teacher must be able to question well. Maunang, we should have mag-practice yun ta aning questioning part, because in mathematics, the way a teacher constructs a question will really affect the way the students will answer. Okay? Now, questions may be categorized according to the level of thinking using Bloom's taxonomy. So take note, before, Bloom's 6 major categories were changed from noun to verb forms. So before, tanawan ninyong before nato. These are the nouns. Evaluation, synthesis, analysis, application, comprehension, and knowledge. But the new version is gihimo na siyang verb. Creating being the highest, evaluating, analyzing, applying, understanding, and remembering. Now, I will be giving a sample question sa mathematics for each kind of level of questioning or level of thinking. Okay? Now, let's go to remembering first. So when I say remembering, it's retrieving, recognizing, recalling relevant knowledge from long-term memory. Okay? Now, this is an example. What is the answer when you do division? What is the term given to the numbers being added? So those are remembering questions. It's simply recalling a very relevant knowledge, recalling terms. It's simply focus on terms. Understanding, making meaning from oral, written, and graphic messages through interpreting, exemplifying, classifying, summarizing, inferring, and comparison and explanation. Here is an example. State in your own words the steps in subtracting numbers with regrouping. Write your own words the steps in doing synthetic division. So those are understanding questions. Applying. Implementing or using a procedure through executing and implementing. Like example, subtract 246 from 500. Perform the indicated operation. So that is now applying. Like applying awa. Ang kining sa understanding, gipa-state sa iyang ang steps sa synthetic. Gi-apply ang steps, gipa-solve na siya, ani niya, kini, by using synthetic, we will be able to find the answer for this. So you get the process now. So, kung ako ning hibuag remembering, akong question is, what is the divisor in your given, or probably in this fraction? What is the divisor? That is remembering, because you will be asking x minus 1. Okay? Understanding, you let the students write their own words, the steps atong synthetic, then applying, you let them use synthetic to solve this one over here. Now, let's go to analyzing. Breaking material into constituent parts, determining how the parts relate to one another and to an overall structure or purpose through differentiating, organizing, and attributing. So these are the examples. Maria received 50 pesos from her mother. She bought a book for 75 pesos and still have 28 in her wallet. How much money did Marie have in her wallet at the start? So this is a problem solving in which she will be analyzing it, like parts by parts, and then working backwards na siya. Working backwards. Okay? So we have here evaluating. Making judgments based on criteria, standards through checking or critiquing. So for example, here is Manuel's solution for a subtraction problem. 96 minus 58 equals 48. Is her solution correct? Why or why not? Here's another one. James has a solution. X plus 5 squared is equal to x squared plus 25. Is her solution correct or wrong? Define your answer. So this time, we are simply letting students spot errors and let them explain why is this an error. Let them explain what's wrong with the solution. That's the evaluating part in mathematics. Okay? Next, creating. This is now putting elements together to form a coherent or functional whole. Reorganizing elements into a new pattern or structure through generating, planning, or producing. Example, how many ways can you subtract 58 from 96? There are a lot of ways on how to go about subtraction. Your students might share something that you do not know. and you let them discuss each. Okay? So if ever like daghan silang nakato na hibawan, you let them do subtraction in many ways, then let them discuss each. Another one, how many different ways can you solve the roots of x squared plus 5x plus 6? Diba there are so many ways on how to solve roots? What are the different ways, by the way? You can do factoring. You can do completing the square. You can...
Yes, using the quadratic formula.
That's totally right. There are a lot of ways on how to solve the roots. And you let the students discuss each way. The same nagyapon tag-answer, ana, but the method used kay lahi-lahi siya. So that's the creating part in mathematics. It's not totally nga pahimuon nato sila mga problems. Kanang mga simple nga atong nakuanan nga gatuuta ay creating di ay na siya nga style di ay. Evaluating di ay na siya nga style kanang correcting errors or like explaining an error. So this is how we should formulate questions in our math class. Dili lang kay puros remembering tanan. Dili lang kay puros understanding. It should be a mixture of all these 6. Okay, levels of question or thinking.